All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of We're Literally
Yeah,
Obsessed.
yeah, one of our favorite numbers.
Yes, my favorite number specifically. Love the number
hmm
9, which is why I'm going to be going first today, even though the odd numbers have been your thing.
Mine is seven
Well,
and
you went first on
four
7.
and then 11. Like
Okay.
they all add up to each other. 4, 7, 11. I love those.
Mine is specifically 9, but also I love 21 just because I think everybody loves like the number for the date they were born. You know?
Yeah.
Like one of Danny's favorite numbers is 24.
Wow.
So you and Kayla
Yeah, I
should
guess
both
the
love
7.
27.
2 is not a bad one, but 4, 7, and 11. I don't know.
No, I don't care about 2 and 1, but I like 21 specifically. But anyways, so
Mm-hmm.
welcome
Mm-hmm.
to another episode of Literally Obsessed. It's a show where two brothers, me, Greg, and our brother, my brother, Kendall.
Hi, I'm Kendall.
Each week we share something that we're literally obsessed with, and it's just been a way for us, bond and share. We literally had these conversations all the time, so we
Mm-hmm.
figured why not document it, to look back on and stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of it. And I don't know. Do you have anything you want to bring? Like, what do you want to bring up to the week? We're still at Mom's house. This is my bedroom at Mom's
Yeah.
house.
My move is closer. Like by the time this episode comes out, I will be in full moving mode, high stress.
Only a couple
My bedroom
days.
furniture will already be on its way across the country. So, yeah, we're getting things together. At this point, still don't have a job figured out.
Love that.
Kind of put the cart before the horse, but you know what? Carts still have wheels. They can still move. We're
I feel like
pushing it
you're still
along.
stuck on this carriage thing. We just finished filming the the Met Gala episode, and Kendall is like, "Yeah, I'm Sarah Jessica Parker's carriage driver." So I
Yeah,
feel like that's still in your head a bit.
a little bit. And the week before that, we did Sex in the City. So,
Wow, there's just like it'll be interesting to see because we don't know what each other's obsession is this week, but it'll be interesting to see
this hour.
this hour. Yeah, you're right. We just finished the Met
I
Gala.
can't believe we're at that point in the podcasting where we're like having to backlog or like pre-plan and like super record or pre-record episodes. Like I feel like once podcasts do that, I'm like, wow, they're like a real podcast. They have things going on.
Well, the thing is, when when we posted our first episode, we had like 4 episodes, or 3 or 4 episodes in the
Yeah,
backlog,
we
and
were
then
shy.
there was so many. It's like, oh, well, okay, we don't need to do it this week. Okay, we're not doing it this week, and then we took a 2 week break at one point, and then we're like, okay, we're literally out of episodes. Like if we
Yeah,
hadn't recorded when we were up here at Mom's this week, we wouldn't have had a video for the next week.
yeah, and you still have to edit all of these too.
I have to edit all of these. It's gonna be wonderful. I look forward to it. But yeah,
I
so
still am like 2 weeks of Instagram posts behind. We'll figure it out. We'll get creative. That's why I'm the social media creative team.
and by we mean Greg will make the Instagram post, but Kendall will make good captions for all
Yeah,
the
you're
videos.
making all the photos. They look fantastic.
You do a great job titling our episodes and giving descriptions.
Yeah, you guys should go like our Instagram photos for Greg's hard work. If you don't, then you hate him.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
literally
homophobic.
I'm having so much fun because it's like low effort, high effort, cringe photos. It's like the type of stuff you'd see in like 2005 or 6 on Tumblr or something, and I'm having so much fun. It's so dumb.
It's light and fun.
And honestly, I'm still proud of the Cowboy Carter one I did. That
Yeah,
was
that
so
one was
good.
cute.
It was a sleigh.
I think my favorite one so far you've done is the Sex in the City one.
That was good too, putting you in
And
the
I think
Sex and the
me
City
just
intro.
feeling like I was a part of the Sex in the City universe is all I really wanted.
Uh-huh.
But it's still my favorite so far.
Exactly. You were just having your
Wait,
best
that
self.
one and then Country Bears.
Oh
for
my
Big
god,
Al.
Country Bears. When I had you back, I was just like, I can't find any photos of good Al, like Big Al, and then it was one of him going, oh. And I was like, the only one I have of Kendall is him going, like, back, and I was like, you're fully going to be backing it up on Big Al. But
Just
yeah,
like I would love to.
exactly. So
And
it
I would
still
do it
worked
for
out.
real.
But yeah, so I guess we're caught up. We don't have much to say since we literally just finished recording another episode. But Kendall, go ahead, take us through your oot.
Yes, today's oot is just light and simple. These are overalls that I have, and this is a heart shirt, but if you know, you know, it's Powerpuff Girls. Then I have on just some favorite jewelry items I always wear, my evil eye ring. Then I have my bracelet from my friend from Bolivia. Or not from Bolivia, she went to Bolivia, got it from there, and then brought it back.
I was
Thank you,
gonna say,
Jazzy.
who's your friend from Bolivia?
I don't know. We haven't found out yet. And then this is just my handy dandy gold bracelet, and then I of course have on my little G necklace. But yeah, nothing crazy. I wanted to do something simple, casual, and fun. And it'll tie into my theme or my
Very Powerpuff Girls.
Yes.
And now I guess we can jump to my doll of the episode. And again, we have her just sitting on a chair at the side.
You don't have to reveal. They never knew it was a chair.
They can't. Kendall, look, you can see the framing right here.
It is a high grade studio side table.
Right, that we just keep in my bedroom at my mom's house. So this is Kim Nguyen, and
Her hair.
Yes, it's like navy blue. So it's like black with navy blue streaks in it. It's so pretty.
Wait, the way that we have, okay, so we have like ring lights set up for this, and the way you just had her there in front of the mic, I was like, why is she like giving a speech? Like, she literally looked like, from my perspective, I wish you guys could see it, literally just like 2 ring lights and a giant microphone for this doll. Yes. What do you have to say, girl?
So Kim Nguyen, she is the navy blue Rainbow High character. She was from...
this is like a classic, like, white button-up and jean outfit.
So I had redid her outfit because I hated her outfit originally. This dress is hers, but then... The dress is hers, and then she just had a denim jacket, and it was denim, and then she had these super simple, like, heels that were, like, kitten heels with a little strap across the front. I was like, the face is too cunty to not be in something more than that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, but then she has these huge R necklaces. Well, R earrings.
All right, I respect
that.
The
Is giving
jewelry.
It's giving like those, what are those pants that were really big when we were in like high school? Rockwear or something like that.
Oh, Rockaware.
Yeah, it's giving that. But I like styled her up a bit. I took the shirt from another character. I gave her this like layered silver necklace.
Is that the shirt from that doll you got from Integrity last year?
No, it's the doll from... It's a shirt from the Slumber Party doll. The one who's like Robin's blue egg. You know, like the 50s. We're not in the room. It's really hard to show. But it's from another Rainbow High doll.
Okay.
And then these glasses are from a Rainbow High boy doll.
Look
But
like
I thought it was like...
John glasses.
I just thought like putting it on the top... Again, it just brought it into more cunty. I almost want to go with like 2000s when they were layering on layering. And
you need
like,
to put a picture of like how she was dressed before and then like what you did to her.
I will. And then I stole these shoes from another doll as well because I was like, slay. And this is actually the Paris Hilton doll's bracelet. And she has these long acrylic nails.
I love it. I would have never guessed that she was dressed any different. Like, it was a whole complete outfit. I like it.
She looks so much better like this. Like, so much better. And I love her makeup.
Yeah. No, I do love her makeup.
It's a slay.
It reminds me of the Integrity doll that you have. And, you know, you can throw that one in here. Or they might have already seen it in the background. She's the one that has, like, the bandana tied up. And then she's got, like, a jean dress on. You got her last year at the 23 convention.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking of the Classically Surreal Isha. Yeah, the one I got from the Integrity event curated. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, she kind of has that vibe. I mean, that's more high fashion and this is more casual, but yes.
I do love this outfit.
Also, on the back, look. She's got little butt pockets, like jeans, because it's like a denim dress. Her thing is like dark denim, but I was like, she can do more than just dark denim. So yeah, I love her. She's so beautiful. Then her phone, she's so, what's the word? Narcissistic, and I love that about her. She's posting on her own Instagram.
You know what? As she should. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that moment with her and the ring lights and the microphone, it was her.
Narcissistic queen. I love her. So yeah, this is Kim Nguyen. I love her. She's also a Thai character. No, Vietnamese. She's Vietnamese, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so I love that.
I love how much detail goes into each of these dolls.
Yeah, they have stories and everything. Not anymore. They used to. With the rebrand, they kind of let go of that. So, you know, it's a sore spot for a lot of Rainbow High collectors.
But, I can tell. I mean...
So, we've kind of gotten through that intro part. Are you ready to hear? Since you've been doing the odd episodes, but I'm claiming number 9. We just did a shared obsession, so it's easy. Anyways, you know?
Okay.
So I'm claiming it just because it's number 9.
We're going to get so confused now. Just know, shared episode is a reset.
And yeah, basically. First. But I have to go first in episode number 9, you know?
Okay.
And what I'm obsessed with this week is, I don't want to say obsessed with. I feel like that makes it feel like, eesh. I don't know, it gives it a weird feeling. But the topic I'm going to be discussing this week, and we're going to be discussing, it's going to be very much something to go back and forth on, something everyone has experienced. And what we are going to be talking about is sexual/gay awakening.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going on a whole journey today. Do you want to see why I didn't want to? You see why I didn't want to put obsessed in the front of that? That felt weird.
Yeah. We're obsessed with our awakening, you know?
Oh, there we go. Our
Yeah,
awakening. Yeah, that sounds a
yeah.
lot better. I was like, I don't know how to word that for obsessed to still fit in there and it not feel like, eesh, you know?
And you
So
know what?
I'm
That's
obsessed
okay.
with awakening. Our awakening into adulthood, adult life. I don't know. No, now we're going too far. No, Glenn. Our parents listen to this show.
Well, then we'll hear a good old bleep right there.
Uh-huh. All right.
Courtesy of editing Greg.
Yes. Thank you, Greg. So yeah, that's my topic. You ready to get into it?
I think I am. You got to lead the ropes. You brought it up.
Okay. So where I'm gonna start with this, and it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. This is gonna be like a classic Greg and Kendall conversation. You guys
Yes.
get to be in on. So where I'm gonna start with is like the first time you ever really like had a crush or feelings in general, and I'm not talking like realistic.
Okay.
Because for me, the first time I ever had intense feelings for another person, it was Britney Spears. It was like my first celebrity crush. First time I had a fascination with another individual was Britney Spears. I loved Britney Spears so much. I wanted to listen to her music all the time. I just thought she was the most beautiful person existing ever. Perfection.
And you stayed a stan.
I was a hard stan.
So then what are your thoughts on her more recent, before we get into why we love her, because everyone loves Britney. What are your thoughts on her spinning tornado phase?
Honestly, I just like slay chaotic queen. She's in her chaotic
Thank you.
era.
That's what I'm like, let her spin in front of that mirror all she fucking wants to.
Bitch, she's been spinning for thousands upon thousands of crowds for years. If she wants to spin alone in her living room, fucking let her spin in her living room. Like, if you don't like it, just keep swiping. Honestly, though, one of my favorite TikToks ever is the one where she's like, bitch, fuck, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I was like, slay. Danny saw that and he's like, is that an adult woman? I was like, yeah, and she's slaying it.
Yeah.
I was
Don't
like,
worry about it. That's just a pop icon.
Exactly. That's my queen.
And you know what? We freed Britney, and this is what we deserve. This is what we needed. I would want nothing less from freeing her. Obviously, she went through a lot.
Yes.
And so, like, yes, sometimes I would say it's concerning, but, like, she was on heavy drugs and all of that stuff for years.
Yeah.
So, I'll say, I'm just glad she's happy.
Me too.
Just let her do her own
Though
thing.
I wish I had done what you did back with Shania Twain. You're like, we're going to Vegas. 24 hours. I'm going to see Shania while she's there. I wish I'd done that while Britney was in Vegas.
Yeah, because she's not performing
She probably won't ever perform again.
Yeah, that's what
and
she
I miss
said.
that. I never saw Britney Spears perform. And that is, I would never want to be like, Greg, you snap your fingers, Britney Spears performing again. I'd never snap those fingers. She's obviously happier now, but I am sad I never got to see her perform. You know, I want to watch her lip sync the house
It's
down.
okay. We had the Onyx Hotel on VHS.
Yes, exactly.
I got in the car yesterday because he drove up here to our mom's this weekend because we keep trading off. And he was like, okay, like you can cue music, but honestly, I just have the entire track list from the Onyx Hotel tour playing right now.
Yes. Casual things. But what is like the first time you remember having intense feelings for
No,
another
I want to get
person?
into your intense feelings. Like what
we're,
was
we're,
it?
we're going further into it.
Okay, so we're just opening.
But
okay.
yeah, we're just opening the book.
If I'm thinking of fascination is the earliest I can remember, it was Mulan. I used to draw her all the time because, you know, poor kid things. Drew her out on paper, cut her out, and had Mulan toys that I made. Then I did this thing when we were younger where Greg would hide or like claim toys as his own, and he was the older brother, so he got to claim it. It was his. I had no say. So he would claim things. I started either one, flushing toys down the toilet, shoving random things up my nose so he couldn't have them, a bead from a dream catcher.
A Lego man hand.
Yes, and then like those like cheap dollar store like lizards you can
Yeah,
get.
the
I
little
put one
like
of those
stretchy
tails.
ones.
Like it was to the point that like the doctors would have to vacuum it out, and they were like, "Why is he back? What is it this time?"
What are we getting out of his ear /
So
nose?
I just remember like like cutting out the paper Mulans, playing with her, and then also like there was a toy we got from McDonald's or from Walmart or something, and there was like a soft spot in the wall in our trailer from like mildew under the window or something. Maybe.
I hate that I'm about to do this older sibling thing. I've done every single
Okay, what's
episode. But this was, it was like a school trip or something. It was the Mulan Burger King toy where she shot a shield. Like you like squeezed her and she'd shoot a shield.
I'm glad you
And
remember. I just remember her kneeling down. It was like a platform or something.
It was mine. It actually was mine. I did do this claiming thing he's saying I did. That's true. But this actually was my toy.
Mulan was mine.
But it was well known in our house. Pocahontas was my favorite. Mulan was Kendall's favorite. Mm-hmm. But when I got the Mulan toy, that was mine. I got it, you know? Now continue with your story. Just so they know, in this case, I was actually innocent for once.
Uh-huh. So I stole his toy. And then, like, I don't know how I found out, but somehow, like, the wall was weak. I punched a hole in the wall and dropped the Mulan toy in between, like, the layers of wall in the house.
And this is when Kendall was, like, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like, young. And I remember just
like,
watching him drop it into the wall. Yeah. And I was just like...
Because you couldn't have... It was mine. Mulan was mine.
I know.
And you know, because the fight too happened there, we had a Pocahontas doll. And you didn't want me to have it. So we had a shed in our backyard. And he threw the doll into the back of the shed. Gone forever. Never found her.
Gone forever.
And it was like a whole doll too.
It was like one of those kind of like miniature figure. It wasn't like Barbie size. She was a bit smaller than that. But yeah. It was.
Anyway, it's been a lot of wars over toys.
It has been many. When you're grown up like we did, and it's like, you guys got to share everything. And then we're like, no, bitch, that's mine. I'm not sharing that with you. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not sharing this. And then you claim characters and stuff. I think people get that. Mulan was your character, but it was my toy I got. So it was a very, I don't know, the world was setting us up to fight on that one.
Yeah.
But I'm looking more for, like, and also, I would like to say, you brought me back when you said this, like the drawing and cutting them out. I have a vivid memory of Pocahontas. Me and Kendall would take turns drawing our favorite character because we had VHSs of Pocahontas and Mulan. We would play the TV, then we'd pause the TV when it was a good spot.
Yeah!
Put the paper against the TV and trace on the TV. Because that was back when like it was like the glass TVs. Yeah. So we would take pencils and trace on the TV so we can get it perfect before we cut it out.
I can close my eyes and see it.
Exactly. I would do Pocahontas and you would do Mulan. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so funny. But what I'm looking for is not necessarily your sexual awakening, but like romantic feelings. Like the first time you remember having like a romantic feel for something. Because for you, I don't quite remember your earliest. I know like certain points for you. Like,
but if I'm thinking about like real romantic feelings I felt now, I guess like puppy love wise, I remember there was a girl I had a crush on in first grade, maybe. I like someone that like next thing I think of is Raven from Teen Titans. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cool and like so interesting, but I don't think it was romantic then. Maybe Emma Watson, but again, that was just, it kind of felt like I was just saying it to say it. I really don't know if I ever had a point where there was a female character or a whole ass person, to be real, that I really, really liked until maybe middle school. I mean, like in elementary school, we had girlfriends. So I guess maybe like me pretending I had romantic feelings would be like my third grade girlfriend I had of like 2 months.
Okay.
And that felt like we were like married and on track for, you know.
So for me, Britney Spears is a special piece of my sexual whatever awakening, blah blah blah, because I just had a fascination with Britney. I just like loved her as in like, you know, an intense fan, or any child loves any superstar. But I remember the day it changed. I remember the moment it changed.
Okay, yeah.
Because the Onyx Hotel, as you were discussing earlier, Mom and Dad, there was a TV playing of Britney Spears performing in Miami, her Onyx Hotel tour. And our parents, like, VHS recorded it for us because it came on way too late. And we would watch the shit out of that thing.
Like, to the point that I can remember the interviews they had before the tour started of, like, them talking to fans in the hallways. Yes. They're like, I just love her so much. Let's go, Britney.
Uh-huh. But there was a part that our parents would always fast forward through, which was there was the part, we didn't even know what happened in it, but our parents said we're not allowed to watch that part, and they always fast forwarded it every single time. And so then eventually me and Kendall got a TV in our bedroom, and we were allowed to watch VHSs, and even when that scene was coming up, we knew the spot. It was after Shadow. We had to fast forward until
I didn't remember the song. I didn't remember the order.
Well, I've rewatched the Onyx Hotel more recently, so I remember. But we'd fast forward, and then we knew when to stop. And so we always skipped it because I was like, we have to skip it. Not that Kendall was fighting me to watch it, but we were like, we have to skip it or our parents won't let us like keep the video back here and we can't watch it anymore. Until one day we're in the living room, we're watching it, and then that part's coming up, and then we like turn to mom, we're like, Mom, the part's coming up, you have to fast forward. And she's like, no, it's okay, I think y'all are old enough to see it now. Just know they're dancers and singers and they're just performing. You know, they're just dancing.
It sounds so ominous.
I'm gonna let you know, I wasn't ready because that is the day I stopped being a child. What we saw on that screen, touch of my hand and breathe on me, that changed my life. That something changed that day chemically.
My brain. Okay, actually, now that you're talking about that moment,
that day we're sitting in the living room.
I do
on
have
the
a
floor.
moment now, but I do remember like seeing her in that bodysuit in the tub. I was like, wow, she's so pretty. That's a nice glass bowl.
No, I was like,
I was innocent. It had not hit me yet. I was not there.
See, that was just like a what? And then the breathe on me. If y'all literally go into YouTube, you can look up Britney Spears Onyx Hotel. And if you go to, first off, Touch of My Hand is the first one. We still didn't quite understand what's going on there, but it gave the idea that she was naked with water on her.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the point.
And then, but the breathe on me scene with the guy with the checkered board hair.
I remember him. Sorry, it's getting late in the night. I remember him, but
In the whitey tighties.
yes. But to me, I was still just like, oh, like he's in his underwear.
And I still didn't understand it for like years later, but I knew like it was different and I looked at Britney Spears differently. And then when like, you know, you have guys in school who talk like very sexually about things and I was like, I get it now. You know? It was just kind of like a switch and I still remember that day so clearly. It was literally that.
I think that was a very powerful moment for you.
It was.
I don't think I had that, but the first time I remember being like, oh, like I'm curious what other people look like without clothes was when Vanessa Hudgens' nudes leaked. We were like 5th grade. I was like, I'm just going to see what it looks like. I never found them. But I was like looking it up. And then you snitched on me the second mom got home, bitch.
Yeah.
Like literally I was like looking up Greg's like, don't do it, Kendall. Don't do it, Kendall. They're going to find. I was like, no, they won't.
I was trying to
Shut
keep
up.
your innocence because I'd already lost mine, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The second our mom walks through the door home from work, he's like, Mom, Kendall was looking for Vanessa Hudgens naked on the internet today. And she was like,
But also, while
Okay.
we're making confessions about nudity, Kendall, I think it's time we come clean about something that nobody knows but us.
what?
Back when our parents first, this is around the same time as the Vanessa Hudgens nudes moment, they put an old, busted ass, sad, slow working computer in our bedroom. And me and Kendall
was so
had a screensaver of a Draenei from World of Warcraft. And she had on her breastplate. But we found the same image where the breastplate was gone and her titties were just flopping out.
Yeah.
And so we'd leave the titties one up. And the moment our parents coming in, we found out you could like right click and you could put your background to be a folder.
Yeah.
And you could change it like by hitting a key. So anytime we heard someone coming, we changed the keys and our breastplate would pop back on. When they leave, titties back out.
You know what? And the boob obsession was there from the beginning.
It was so funny. I started thinking about that and I was like, wow.
We did that. I feel like, yeah, because we had like the Draenei thing. I think there was just like a curiosity for nudity, but I don't like awakening as far as like oh my God, this did something to me. Like I couldn't control myself. Something happened.
World of Warcraft, the first of May video.
No. The first time I ever, and it was like almost involuntarily reacted to something, and I was like, something just came alive inside of me, was, let me take you back to the summer of 2014. No,
Okay.
13.
Okay.
We were watching Big Brother, the reality TV show.
I know exactly where this is going.
Me and you were sitting on the couch in our living room. And we were just like sitting there like, oh, haha, like watching TV and watching Big Brother. And then it was Pastor Jody or Minister Mama Jody's birthday. And Cody Calafiore had on like a little bow and a vest with his abs and all his muscles out. And he went up to her and started body rolling. Sitting in the middle of this living room, literally just watching TV, like, oh, ha, this is funny. Was like, oh. And I was like, and Greg looked at me like, and I was like, oh, what happened? What? Oh my, that was crazy.
Cody California is such a special, beautiful man. Like, me and Kendall have very different types and people, but he's one that's like perfectly lands in the middle of the Venn diagram.
Like Cody Calafiore,
one of the most beautiful.
You
men
have
on
a
this
fan
planet.
in me, like so gorgeous, so beautiful, and that body roll awoke something in me. And I'm
So
sure
that
that's
was
weird
yours.
for him to hear because it's a whole real person and not like, I guess Britney Spears
I
is
just
too.
said the same to Britney Spears and check.
She's like a celebrity. I'm sure she's been told that before.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Cody's been told that before too, but it's a little bit different. He's like a reality star.
If not,
versus...
Cody, you've heard it now.
I can't meet you in person. He's whole married now,
Right.
and still straight, but still, that
Exactly.
was a moment for me. I was just like, well, nothing's the same anymore.
Now I'm gonna move on from kind of less from like that was the original awakening, something born, but then something that I think every gay man goes through is the moment when he starts figuring out, wait, maybe it's more than just, you know, maybe men are something more than just I want as a friend. You know, maybe there's more interest in men there, and you start figuring it out. Okay, at least in my experience, and I know some in your experience, like, I didn't grow up just knowing I was gay. I was like, yeah, I like dolls, color pink, and blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't like, yeah, I want to be with a man when I grow up. You know what I mean? I still like, I'm going to have a wife and kids.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be... we were kind of just running around like Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. But we were like, no, we're straight. We're ending up with women. I had like...
Not
thought
you outing
girls were
Bobby
cute.
Hill.
It's gay coded. But yeah, I mean, I specifically just was running around like, oh yeah, like this is what it is. Like I knew I had different interests, but also I was like nerdy and into school. So I was like, oh, this just must be like
How
nerdy
nerds
school
are.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like a nerdy school kid thing. It wasn't necessarily oh, this must be gay happening. So I was like, okay, this is like one of my like other interests. So all that to say, I think my first like time was really around 7th grade. That was like when things switched for me. One, Greg Sulkin was on Wizards of Waverly Place.
You had such an obsession with Greg Sulkin.
He's so beautiful. And like when him and Selena
Gomez.
yeah, when their
Which
characters...
you also had a Selena Gomez obsession.
Oh, I did, yeah.
That was
Both
a
of
thing.
When there was like an episode where like they get into a fight and there's some like emotional thing and I was like, oh, I want to comfort him, and I was like, interesting.
Interesting.
But let me tell you, my 7th grade science teacher, and I'm gonna have to unfollow him off. I think I still am friends with him on Facebook.
Oh my
or
gosh.
follow him on Instagram, and that will be getting unfollowed after this. After this episode, he will be getting unfollowed. I'm not naming his name. But I used to go
He
to
knows who he is, and everyone who was in Kendall's class knows.
I used to be so excited to go to his class.
The thing
whatever he said, and then sometimes I would just be like, literally one of those things, like, all the guys in my class were talking about our teacher that was young, and they were like, "Oh, she's so hot, she's so hot." I was like, "Yeah," but I was just sitting there like making heart eyes at him while he was just teaching me about science and genes.
I think the
Punnett Square.
Oh my gosh, chill, watch. I think everyone has heard like that stereotypical like that one teacher that all the like one male teacher that all the girl students are just like, huh. So imagine that is that teacher. Like all of our female friends who had him as a teacher or even didn't just like knew him, obsessed with him as a teacher. And it turns out Kendall too.
Yeah,
Kendall was
me
like
too.
the one
and
guy.
I was in his class.
And Kendall's like the one guy in the background just like hiding in the groups of girls.
Oh, it was like the front table. I was at the front, girl. I loved him. I joined photography club because of him.
Oh my gosh, I remember you joining.
There are photos that exist that I took on this little digital camera that mom had that I did just so I could spend more time with him. Like, full teacher crush, full, like, men are cute, Kendall is here, and queer.
Wow. Look, you came into your gay awakening. So I came into, like, the overall
No, we still
awakening
repressed it for a lot longer. We had about 10 more years.
Right, but you were fully like, oh, I'm picking up this camera if it gets me more time with him.
Yeah. I just thought I wanted to be him. He was so cool. I wanted it. Well, no, that feels weird. I was gonna say
I know what you're going to say, but I'm glad you did.
I'm not saying it. We're not. No, we're not doing that.
I was like, let's not. But yeah, so for me, it was kind of like, it was hard to like recognize that I was interested in men. It was hard for me to like realize I was into men until there was this one time it just happened. and you already know exactly who it is. And it is, Kaylee was watching this show, and it was this show, and it was on Nickelodeon, and look, I got nervous. I was like petting the bed. Kayla was watching this show.
Not you having a crush still, girl.
I fully know I don't think that like I'm the person to get like super tripped up on my words or anything like in front of a celebrity or something. If I was in the same room as this man, I wouldn't be able to make eye contact. I'd be staring at my shoes the whole time. I know that for a fact. Like that is a fact. So she was watching the show. The show is called Big Time Rush. And like she's just watching the show. Me and Kendall were kind of like moving out. We're like we'd rather play video games than watch like those types of shows and stuff like that. So we weren't huge into it. The moment my eyes met through the screen with Carlos Pena Vega. That's his name now because he got married and he likes okay. Carlos Pena, right?
How progressive.
I know.
Did you know he named his kids after cruise lines?
He's obsessed with cruises. Him and his wife, they love cruises.
I wonder which kind of cruises.
The moment I saw Carlos Pena Vega, something changed in me. Like I was just like, what? I can't even explain it. It's just I knew in that moment I'm a homosexual. Like it was like in that exact moment. That was the moment I was just like, it wasn't even like homosexual.
That mic just picked up my ankle cracking.
It was loud enough. It should have. So basically, with Carlos Pena Vega, the moment I saw him, I was like, "Wait a second, what is this?" And it became like an obsession, but like it was just a solo obsession. Like I would look at his like Instagram, like any social media I could see back then. It wasn't TikTok. It was Vine. No, I'm talking like this obsession followed all the way through high school into college.
Yeah, I never knew. Like he kept this a whole secret from me. That's how much he liked him.
Deep, exactly. I didn't tell Kendall about this until a couple years ago. But I was just like following, like when he showed up, I followed the okay, I didn't even follow them because I didn't want someone to see I was following them. But I'd look up the other members of Big Time Rush on Vine to see if he made a guest appearance in their Vines.
Great.
He showed up in Logan sometimes.
Yeah, Logan was mine. But also one thing back to Big Time Rush, representation to all of our male Kendalls out there.
Oh yeah,
we exist.
But I was so obsessed with him, and I was so afraid of anyone finding out. But I was just obsessed with Carlos, and I was like, and then I don't even know how to talk about, like, fully, again, like I was saying, if I was around any celebrity, I think I could be in the presence of Beyonce, and it'd still be like, oh my gosh, that's Beyonce. But I still feel like I'd be like, hey, I'm Greg, you know? If he was in the room, I fully would be staring at my feet, and if he spoke to me, it'd be like a mumbled mess. I'd be like, bye, you know? Like, I know I would be like that, because just the idea of being in the same room with him makes me feel like I'm going to start sweating or something. Like, I can't explain it. It's just Carlos Pena Vega. I don't know. So I was obsessed, and that he is like the route that got me to figure out I was gay. So yours was Cody Calafiore. My bad. And then mine was Carlos. And then I just wanted to have a funny moment because I think it was you who pointed it out. But like I just had a fascination with kind of like the comedic relief, kind of funny character, which was like his character in Big Time Rush, because it was definitely more of his character than anything. And then also I realized I kind of had like a crush or something, some type of fascination with Beast Boy from Teen Titans as well. But also I just wanted to say that now, while it's not directly, my husband does share some qualities with Carlos, which is really funny to me. Like, you know, the shorter Latino, center of the party, laughing, blah, 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 blah. Very much him. And then the last thing is I want to thank everyone out there who's been sharing all the TikToks of the Big Time Rush concert going on, because the amount of times Carlos ends up shirtless and just dancing.
His little muscle titties jiggling. Like, fully Greg showed me a whole video. I was like, oh yeah, I already saw this. He's like, no, he's more at the front in this one. And then it was an entire edit of like 6 different concerts or 6 different moments from a concert of like him shirtless.
Because I didn't even know about this. Kendall sent it to me because Kendall was like, I saw this. You're welcome. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, fully, he was like the full awakening. He's the reason I found out like I like men. You know? Mine
was definitely my 7th grade teacher, but like visceral can't control the action, 100% Cody Calafiore. Oh, what a man.
I just, you're going, huh?
fully did that. And you know what? I stand beside that.
And I love that we were present at different times for us. Like I was present for Cody for you. You were present for what Britney Spears did on that stage in Miami for me, you know?
I'm just like, wow, they're good dancers. And you're like...
Kendall, I'm telling you, it's something with, like, especially Breathe On Me. Which is funny because Breathe On Me, they're, like, in underwear versus, like, Touch of My Hand, she was supposed to be naked. But Breathe On Me, something happened. Chemically, the things altered.
I mean, there were men there, so I think that's what happened for you.
Yikes. You know, I was watching it the other night before, like, you know, just to be prepared for this because I knew I wanted to talk about this. There's groupings all around. There's literally a group of 2 men. How progressive.
Oh.
Right?
I love that.
The 2 security guards start doing their own dance together.
We love the Onyx Hotel.
Exactly. The Onyx Hotel seems like a great time.
Okay.
But yeah, so my obsession this week was Awakening. Just talking about like what brought us into, I don't know, where we are and like figuring out like a big aspect of who we are, which is like being gay, you know, like how we got there. Because I think it's so interesting to hear like what was that like, you know, what's the word?
No, the gay awakening moment is an important one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like it's so funny hearing what different people's ones, because some people, I've heard people say like Hercules from Disney's Hercules or something like that. I've heard people say Powerline from the Goofy movie. Like I've heard some really out there ones.
Yeah. No, I was more like Jessica Rabbit was like truly up until like I would say like that time with like 7th grade, like the age of 12, 13. I literally like was like baddie behavior. That's all I respected. Like Jessica Rabbit, the poetry girl from the Goofy movie, Mulan, and like all the Disney princesses. Still liked
with
it.
Red hair.
That was a thing. 100%. Oh, Helga from Atlantis. I mean,
I was obsessed with Helga. Still am actually.
Yes.
Love that girl.
But yeah, no, the gay awakening. That's
just like
interesting that yours was like a lot sooner, but or I guess maybe it was kind of the same-ish time.
Around the same time.
Just my
out the gay
person
part.
obsession was not until then. Actually, Justin Bieber.
Oh.
I used to look him up incognito mode on my phone all the time.
And also, you guys want to know what's funny? Kendall is one of those hateful people. Once they figure out they like someone, they hate it. Kendall talks shit about Justin Bieber.
I had to cover my tracks.
And I was like, oh, this is really good music. I like it. Da-da-da. Kendall's like, he's horrible. I hate him.
Yeah.
But
I fully liked his songs. And then it became popular to hate on him. So I was like, okay, like we're going to distance ourselves.
But when he first got that haircut.
Yeah. And then I can say this because I was younger than this. But when he was 18, he did like a magazine photo cover, like Justin's 18 and legal. Like I don't think I was like 16 or 17 at the time. And there's like something where it's like a photo. I remember like his hands are up behind his head like this. Still visualize it to this moment.
Actually, no. There's something when I started to realize I had basically come out as gay at this point. And Kendall hadn't confessed to me that he was really interested in boy. It was kind of like hinted. He kind of was like, maybe, but it wasn't ever serious. The moment I was like, okay, Kendall's got something going on too, was your fascination with Nick Jonas.
When I underwear photos.
The Calvin Klein ad.
But Cody Calafiore had already come along as already secretly
right, but that
Googling
was secret.
him.
That was secret. I didn't know about the
public, yeah. I get
but
Nick Jonas.
I picked up on the Nick Jonas part. Your obsession with him. Definitely.
And he's fine. You know, personality-wise, I don't think it would be it. I'm more of a Joe fan, despite his divorce he's going through right now. But I'm still more of a Joe fan. But, you know, fuck, marry, kill Joe, or like, not Joe. Nick is the fuck all day. We're marrying Joe. I don't even want to kill Kevin, because he's a sweetie, but
yeah,
he ain't Joe and he's not Nick.
Exactly. I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. That's so bad. I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. But honestly, I've always, like, I'm much more on the Joe side. And you like, really rose as a Nick fan right around, like, when he hit his solo career.
But I support his solo career. His, like, Close is still a hot song to me.
So good.
Chains, Bacon,
what's that
Jealous,
one?
of course.
Yeah, Jealous. There we go.
I heard that. I remember the first time I heard it too. I was in our old little Chevy Malibu, and I was driving home from my job at the theater my senior year of high school, and I thought it was Jason Derulo. I was like, oh, like, okay, like, this is cute. This is something new for him. Then I found out it was Nick, and I was like, what? Who? Where's he at? Then he starts launching, like, this, like, sexy solo career campaign, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I was all about it.
You were. But yeah, so yours was Cody Calafiore / your 7th grade teacher.
Yeah.
Mine was fully Carlos Pena Vega. My God, that man. I seriously, like, I just saying it's like I get nervous because I'm on camera now. I know. I'm a very happily married man, but that man makes me nervous.
All right.
Yeah, so that's my obsession for the week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think it's been beyond a week.
Little bit.
Okay. Mine is actually a little related. It's a little topical because I was going to do another topic, but I realized our recording schedule doesn't line up. And so I wanted to do, I had my episode ideas coming, but this week, we were just discussing it today with our mom and stepdad, is dating, modern dating. Is my obsession.
We literally we have a 4-hour drive up here. We literally got into a debate about some of this stuff.
It's just been so topical this weekend. I'm talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I've been on a little bit of a break for these past few, like, I'd say 3 months. Like I have this thing, my dating pattern, especially since I've started dating men, is like I'll date like people for like 3 months, have a bad experience, and then ghost all dating and just be by myself until I'm like, okay, like I'm insatiably lonely and need to kiss a boy right now, and then I just get right back into it.
Right.
Or I have a hoe club phase and then we get back into dating. But it's so interesting because I didn't necessarily date in college or high school. I got on Tinder my sophomore-ish year, freshman year, went on one date with a girl from Tinder in college. Obviously wasn't out, so it was different. But like I really wasn't picking anybody up, and so like I really didn't go on dates. But like back then, and my idea up until I got to dating today was like, you meet, you talk. If you like them, you go on a date. You keep going on dates until you don't want to go on dates with them anymore. You're either gonna get a relationship or you're just gonna end that person and then move on to the next. Mm-hmm. It is so complex. I will specifically speak on some gay dating trends, but truly I'm like, I think when you're single, you just attract other single people. So my friends right now are also single. Mm-hmm. And so like, we're just all noticing these common trends. So
I just do not know how I want to say it. I keep moving. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, good. So I'm just obsessed with modern dating and how many people are like mad about it and how many people don't understand it and how really no one understands it. But also at the same time, people keep trying to like put it in this box, in this formula. So first off, I'm going to give my idea, and I'm going to credit it to a TikToker. I will find them, and I will have to send it to you so you can put their name on the screen now. Or we'll say it. Greg can blurb it in here. But I
just imagine me going, Donna, Donna, and then coming back to this.
I mean, that should be what it is. So there's a TikToker, and they're like, okay, I put out like a dating timeline. And they're like, their talking stage I've heard of the talking stage. I think it existed before I was in a 5-year relationship, but it was like you're just like talking to somebody. You're not committed, whatever. It was a little bit new, I think, back in like 2014, 15, 16. And then it stayed around kind of, but now people still use it. But she's like, no, talking stage is when you're literally only talking like you've never physically met this person. Or let's say you met this person, picked up their number once, and then you're texting or something like that. Like, because texting, date app messaging, all of that stuff is so necessary in modern dating, or I guess so ingrained. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but she's more or less like, you're talking. Once you go on the first date, you're dating. And then after you go on those dates, you eventually just kind of keep getting to know each other. But you are dating until you either stop seeing each other or you go in a relationship, which is different. But her whole premise is that there needs to be clear, defined terms of like, oh, are we talking? Are we dating? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, there's a lot of blurred lines through there. And then, so that's my thought. So I think that is a part of it. And then also she specifically says like, first 3 dates is to get to know somebody because you're like probably nervous on the first date, nervous on the second date. By the third date, like you're starting to see some consistency in their behavior, who they are. Then by dates like 4 to 6 is just like making sure the attraction, or like 1 through 3 is like the attraction, 4 through 6 is like compatibility, 6 through 10 is like, do I want to seek something more from this? And this is just dates. This is not weeks or months or whatever. But typically, she says you're like, you hit 10 dates around the 5-6 month mark, depending possibly, unless you keep going on dates. Like truly, I think it was like 4 months or something was like that first part, and then like after seeing somebody for 4 or 5 months, you know if you want to be with them or not, and then you decide if you're gonna date, which I can honestly say makes sense because I have not made it to the 4 month part yet. But like I've talked to people for like 6 weeks, or my own terms or her terms, dated someone, and by week 6 I was like, nope, this is it. And that's the furthest I made it. It's just a lot of weeding out, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's like, I want to give like a process, like when I talk about talking to people or dating people, and like where that's been or how that's been different for me. Like that's kind of the frame I have in mind, just for terms. But I do understand, because we had a whole debate.
We did.
Pretty much where I'm putting dating, you're saying seeing each other. Dating means boyfriend, girlfriend for you.
Okay. To be fair, I have been out of the dating world since 2020. That's when I met Danny. We're now married, blah, blah, blah. So I've been in a committed relationship for a while now. But I'm still, like, aware of what the dating world is, because it's all over social media. And I still have, like, I was single from 2018. Like, summer of 2018 all the way to 2020. That doesn't sound that long, actually, when I say it like that.
Damn,
but
girl.
it was like a year and a half, right? It felt longer.
Like
but
2 years maybe.
Yeah. But, like, I went on, like, multiple dates, met multiple different people, like, people you never want to see again, people you just talk to on the apps. You get ghosted, you ghost them, like, did all of the stuff in between in that time period. And to me, I think, like, the way that person explains it, the way you've, like, said that they explain it, it makes sense and aligns with, like, how I would like it to work if I were in the dating world. But to me, it seems what I've picked on and what I've experienced, even though it's 4 years ago, to me, it's like, how do I put it? It's, you're seeing, like, when someone says, oh, I'm dating someone, it means your boyfriend, girlfriend, your boyfriend, boyfriend, you're like established relationship, significant other in some way. And then talking to someone, that's those beginning stages. Like, oh yeah, we're talking. It's like, there may have been a date, but really it's just talking, messaging, texting, stuff like that. It's nothing like committed. Then when you're seeing someone, maybe there's been dates, maybe some sleepovers, stuff like that. Like there's been physical in-person connections on some level.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. And I still, like, I use it today. Like, I still interchangeably use it.
Yeah.
It just is modern talk, but, like, anyway, that's the system. But all that to say that, like, modern dating seems to lack a system, and people seem to be very afraid of asking for labels or putting labels on it.
I think there's not enough communication is what I see so much of it is, and was always my problem. Like, a lot of people, when I told this, like, to friends and stuff, they tell me I sound crazy, but me and Danny met, and then before the first date, we both were interested in seeing each other again, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be upfront. Like, I want this, and this, and this, and this, and this in a relationship. Like, if we're going to be in a relationship, then I think it's, like, are you even open to the idea of marriage, or you never want to get married? Because that's something in the gay community. A lot of people who are gay, especially back in 2020, were like, I'm not interested in gay marriage. And then I was like, I'm not saying we're going to get married. We're not proposing to each other right now, but I need to know that, like, you're open to the idea of marriage. You're open to the idea of kids. You do want, like, a relationship that's set up like this way. I had to, like, state all that from the beginning. I was like, I don't want to invest, and I'd been on a lot of, like, bad dates and, like, being with people who, like, the things didn't align. So I was like, I'm not wasting any time. I just was like, I'm looking for someone who aligns with mine. And if we don't match up, that's fine. We can still, like, have fun or still just enjoy the thing. But, like, I don't want to invest time into you if we know from the beginning there's no chance it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think truly communication is a big one. But also what's interesting to me is the amount of people who truly, like, just this, let me restart. Something interesting to me is that people are so open and honest with, I'm just trying to sleep around right now. I'm not committing to you. I will be seeing multiple people. I will be sleeping with multiple people. I like it. I respect it. I think we have this fantasy of like, I'm the only one for them, and like you're gonna find that perfect person. But I really don't think that's true. And I mean, like, you will find somebody. I think there's people we're compatible with. Obviously, we all want to find that one person we're the most compatible with, and it feels like that true love story. And I think there could be multiples of those. I truly think it's like a sliding scale of like, you can meet somebody that's a 75% match and have a fantastic life. You can meet that person that's a 100% match, have an absolutely fantastic life. Like, you can find that. That's kind of my thoughts on finding people. So I don't fault people for being like, hey, I'm dating around. I'm willing to go on dates with you and talk with you and be with you, but I'm also going to be dating other people. It was a little bit weird to me at first when I got back, because when I got back in the dating thing, I was like, okay, one person at a time, single file. Okay, you can come in. Okay, now you can come in. Okay, you can come in. But it just ends up closing a lot of doors, and I found that like there's people that I had good conversation with, but then this other guy, I'd start talking to him, and then I'd be like, oh, this guy's not as interesting. I talked to this guy. Turns out he was just like fucking around, or it was like a fuckboy situation, or they ended up finding someone else they liked. So it's almost like that like classic thing that is a little bit incel, but I don't take it that far. Is like you're looking at somebody who's looking at somebody else, who's looking at somebody else, who's looking at somebody else, who's looking at you. So it's like this circle of people just like no one's really wanting or pursuing somebody because they're always looking for the next best thing. I do think that's where it gets problematic, because sometimes people just don't recognize a good person in front of them. But I don't hate the people that are like, hey, you're one of 3 people. As long as you're getting tested, as long as you are taking your medications that you have to get on prep for all the gay men. But and I mean, straight people can do it too, but I know it's not pushed, but like, get on prep. And as long as you're getting tested, as long as you're putting that
Being
work
safe,
in,
yeah.
to be safe, I don't see the problem. As long as you're being upfront. But you do, I think you need to pay attention to your emotions, and you need to respect people who don't want that.
Exactly. I think it's great. Like, again, I'm not in the dating world, so I'm not trying to sound like, what's it called? Hypocritical or something like that. It's like, well, it doesn't even apply to you. So I'm just like providing my insights, but as someone who's not in the community now.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like, when someone's that straightforward, that's great, but that means now you truly need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important when you're with someone like that. It's like, hey, I'm seeing other people, blah, blah. You have to be honest. Is that something you can handle? Is that something you want? Is that something that you're okay with? Because, like you were saying, like, you're with someone, it's like, oh, that's great, da-da-da, they're having fun, but they're seeing other people. Were you looking for someone where it was just a one-on-one? Because that's okay if that's what you want. It's not as, I guess, common these days, where someone's only pursuing one person. And we've talked about it before, back when I was dating and when you first started dating. We're the type of person, it's like, when we become interested in someone, it's like, okay, we block out all the rest and like tunnel vision on this one person until that crashes and burns or something. And we shut out a lot of other people. It's like almost how we operate, like the hopeless romantic, maybe, and then also like maybe trauma related. Who knows?
Oh no, it fully is. It's called anxious attachment.
I know. I was just kind of hinting at it there, but because of that, like, you have to really be honest with when you're with someone who's being honest with you. That's great. Now you have to be honest. Can you handle it, and do you align with what they're providing? Because you should never go into anything to go and change someone. You know?
That's honestly one of my biggest dating rules. I probably should have compiled a list, but again, I'm doing this kind of off the top of my head. But like, if you go into a situation, who you're meeting is who you get. You cannot change them.
Right.
That saves me all the time. I've been down bad. Earlier this year, when we started the podcast, I talked about somebody I got way messy with emotionally. And the only thing that saved me was, do I accept this person's behavior now? Who they are now is who they are. I don't I'm very quick to fall in love with the potential of somebody, and I think that's honestly what kept me in my past 5-year relationship.
Yeah,
for
that's
so
a
long.
big thing for you, and that's also something when you were in this situationship, it came up a lot. You're like, this piece is so perfect. We just need to get this piece to that level, and I was like, but is that something they can do?
It's
like,
really hard to be self-accountable, girl. Don't call me out.
I remember we were talking, like, I was gonna say I've heard a lot of people, but you brought up your situationship, and I was like, that's the perfect example, because we used to talk about that all the time. You're like, this piece is just absolutely perfect, wouldn't want to change a thing about it. Like,
you guys can guess the piece.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and then this piece, it was like, I feel like we just need to like bring it up a bit, and I'm like, But what if that's just what it is? Like that,
Yeah.
you don't, like, you're trying to, like, change it to fit what you want.
And it's one thing, like, you go on the first date and you're like, oh my God, they didn't pull my chair out, or they didn't tip the waiter enough, or like, oh, they got like a little too drunk on the date or something. Like, yeah, that's one date. Like, look for consistent behaviors. Allow yourself like 2 to 3 dates before, if you're trying to emotionally connect with them. But obviously, if you see like a red flag and you're like, deal breaker, I'm out, go.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I would come back from every date like, oh, like that behavior is still there. Like, what if it just changed? What if I could just do something? Or like, I wonder if like maybe it's just because they're having a really bad month or a bad week. Like, it was always an excuse. Start holding ourselves, like, yourself accountable, because I had to.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Your biggest
But
thing really was just like, I see the potential.
you have to let the potential go. Who they are now is who you will date. Because it's almost like that thing where like there's a statistical, oh my God, statistical study was done on parents and income, and they pretty much found that like the age or the income bracket, not the age, oh my God, the income bracket that like a person would have a child was the income bracket they stayed closest to. So, you know, if you only make this amount of money now and you have a kid, you're probably going to float around there. And that happened with us. Like, our parents, eventually, we went off to college. They had less responsibility for us. Then their careers soared. They started making more money. But for when we were with them, they pretty much stayed at the same, like, socioeconomic level the entire time. So it's almost like, treat that exactly how the emotional is. Wherever you meet them now, not saying they don't have potential. You can, I'm so good at like wanting to uplift others and see the best in others. Who they are now is who they are, and who you're going to date. That's the version you're getting, even if you know a better version could exist. So that's one of my big dating advices.
I think something that I'll speak on that does apply to me is also a big thing I've noticed is like people are like, for example, like I was saying as soon as I started talking to Danny, I was like, I need to know that this, and this are like things that you are open to, or else it's not even an option. But also, once you're like starting to pursue a relationship, if you're in that stage where you're getting in, something that was hard for me is like letting go of, like, once you're in, it's also okay to like, for your feelings to shift. It's like, oh, I don't want to live on a farm and have a horse anymore, even though I made them agree to it like when we first got together. Maybe that horse isn't as important anymore. Like, you also grow as you go, but you have to like feel strongly, like you're saying, like who that you start with is great, but also let yourself grow with the person as you go. Because I will say, who I am now, when I first got my relationship with my husband, totally different. Like, I wouldn't even recognize our relationship now is completely different than how it started. And I was completely happy then, completely happy now, you know? Yeah. So it's like giving yourself, stick to what you want when you're looking for it, but once you're there, also be malleable, but not something that's walked over. Which is, I think, it's a
balance.
Line.
Like, there's a whole balance. And I think that's a big thing with like dating when you're looking for like long-term partners. But maybe that's something different.
That's true.
But as far as like dating now, I have definitely wasted my time on people's potential instead of what they showed me. And then just kind of like what I was getting back to, where like a lot of modern dating now is people being like, I'm sleeping with multiple people, or, you know, we can go on dates, but I'm not going to commit to you. I don't know. Like, it's interesting, but I agree.
You've also said you've seen a lot of like polyamorous couples too.
Oh my God, yes. No, for like, get out of the goddamn dating apps. The singles are trying to get in there. So get out. But also, like, polyamory is real. Let me not get canceled already. But there's so many couples, like, all of the time. Like, it'll be like, oh, I'm in a happy relationship, but we're looking for a friend, or, oh, I'm in a relationship, but we like to have fun, or we're open to having, like, so many couples. And again, this is the gay man, because this is the side I'm on. Or at least bisexual men too, because there will be people that are with women as well. So fucking polyamorous, which is so interesting because, again, back to Sex and the City, Samantha called it forever ago when there was like an episode about bisexuals, and she was like, polyamory is the future. Yeah. And I mean, I guess I get it. I don't know if that's for me. Right. I love one person at a time. I like the idea of it, but it's not to say that it can't grow. Hold on, I'm about to do this pillow. But the another weird thing about modern dating is like the dating apps. It's so interesting because like I've never known dating without the dating apps. But at the same time, like it's crazy because I'll see guys in public and like I've had a few guys I've met in public. Specifically, there's one guy who I met at the club and then we ended up matching on the dating app. I like swiped on the profile, liked it, but I like when I made out with this guy at the club, I was like, yeah, I'm fine never seeing him again. Like he wasn't that cool. And then got on the dating apps and I was like, oh, like the profile's fine. But like I was like, it's not really my type. It was like a I like it, but it wasn't like someone that was like, oh my god, I want to super like them type of thing. I don't know. It's interesting, like that balance. Like there's some people who you accept in public that you wouldn't on the apps. Some people you accept on the apps who you wouldn't in public. I mean, it's really crazy. I've been on a date before where I like this guy just knew his angles. It was actually the first date I ever went on with a guy. He knew his angles and got in person, completely different person. I was like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But the dating apps themselves are like their own thing. Have you seen all the discourse happening over them?
Okay, well, you and me, you were updating me because back when I was in the dating world, it was like, okay, Grinder was gay hookups.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tinder was where gays go for a relationship. And then Tinder for the straights was a hookup app. And then the straights went to, what was it? It wasn't Bumble. It was the other one that's really popular.
Hinge.
Hinge is where the straights went for a relationship. And then Bumble wasn't a bit, we're on the East Coast. Like Bumble was very big in the West Coast, but hadn't really made its way to the East Coast much yet. And that's where it was when I was in the dating world and I left. But you've told me it's completely different now.
Yeah, so now it's been a whole thing. I would say when I hopped on the dating apps 2 years ago, or actually I'd say it was like a year and a half ago, because I really wasn't. I was like on Hinge for a minute. Like I remember Hinge was the big one that most people were using. Tinder was sort of thought of as the like that was like the original dating app. No one uses that but old people anymore. Although all the old people, like the real older people, are on Plenty of Fish. So shout out to her, Any Harmony.
We know her. She's been playing the game for a long time.
But essentially, like Tinder was like older millennials and like younger our parents' generation, and so it was kind of left behind. People were using, no, like I didn't think that gay people were using Bumble because it was an app built for women to send likes to men, and then with Hinge, that was just like the newer one that was made, and you could see who liked you, which was like the appeal of that one. Grinder is still very much there, but the only weird thing about Grinder is now, and I want to fight with the community about this for 2 seconds. Why is it that the profiles with no pictures are the desired ones? I've had like I made a profile and didn't put a picture on it and got like all types of random hits.
Yeah,
and
you were telling me
people
about
were
that.
like trying to get with me, and like there was one dude that like sent me his location. I was like, girl, do not get murdered. You do not know anything about me. And like don't even have a picture. But like I had that one because I was creeping, but like I had to delete that one since I'm moving. I'm starting fresh. But like I don't understand. Like I guess I don't know. It's just it feels like this weird thing. Like oh, like I'm so pretty. I get so tired of being messaged on here. On one hand, I get it, but now it's just an extra step. Now you mean I have to go through? Like nobody's like posting pictures anymore. Everyone has blank profiles, and you're just supposed to like guess based off of like fucking words in a letter and some like random ass like Dom top for you type of shit. And just be like, oh, I hope he's hot, and just message some random profile. Like, put the pictures back on there. That's my opinion, but also I'm not that deep into hookup culture, so like, let me not tell them how to live. But that's how I would like to see.
But yeah,
them
you
live.
told me that being a new thing. I was like, what? Because back in my days, it was always just, the shirtless. Like, everyone had photos, typically just, like, cut off the neck.
Yeah.
And you're like, now, no, the blank profiles are the highly seeked profiles.
Yeah, because I don't know when this change happened. It was within the last 2 years, because when I first downloaded Grindr just to like get the thrill of like I'm out, I can do this now. It was like no pictures, no like if I won't chat with you unless you have pictures. Like no pics, no response. That was like a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know when that switched, but within the last 2 years it switched. Now it's if you don't have pictures, people are gonna message you because they assume that you're probably one of those people that's so hot you didn't want to get hit up too much.
Yeah.
Which is just like why? For what? For what? Just block people. And that is what it is. Also, this is a gripe that I have with Grindr. I had this person message me, and then they sent me a random message. It was an older guy, and he was like, "Hey, if you're not gonna be like answer me or hook up with me, can you just block me?"
Oh my gosh.
No, you block me. What do you mean? I was so confused. I was like, what is this? And then I opened the chat, and this dude had messaged me like 5 times in over like 4 months. And like just random days when I would open the app, he would just be like, hey, hey, hey. And then the last time he was like, if you're not gonna respond, at least block me. I'm like, no,
It's
you
like,
block
girl, you
me.
didn't realize it the first 3.
Exactly. You block me. I'm not doing your dirty work.
Yeah.
Grindr is its own culture. I'm ready to see the next shift. Bring the goddamn pictures back. Some of us just like to see pretty men exist around us and then
Maybe
close
it's just
it.
the East Coast thing. Maybe out in Colorado they love the photos.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's just an East Coast situation. I will let you know. I'll report back once I get to Colorado.
Yeah, let me know.
But yeah, so with the dating apps now, everyone found out, people started figuring out and then exposing the algorithms that these dating apps had. So everyone knew that Tinder had like a hotness score, but it wasn't really a hotness score. It was just like, oh, if man A gets 20 likes this hour and man B gets 20 likes this hour, they're desirable. So then it was like, okay, now if, man C gets 5 likes and man D gets 5 likes, then they're as desirable as each other. We should like make those people see each other.
They're the same level of desirable.
Yeah, it was. So essentially, it was a
hotness.
Yeah, so essentially, it's a hotness score.
It's okay, well, you're 5s and you're 10s, so we'll let the 10s look at the 10s and the 5s will look at the 5s.
Yeah, but the part that got tricky was that the 5s, or I won't even say the 5s, but like the people who in this narrative. So the 5s are now being shoved, like, because Tinder and all those apps are like now more or less pay to play. Like you get more benefits, you get unlimited likes, you get more like super likes, you get more access to like the hotter men. So on Hinge it would be you can send roses. On Tinder it would be super likes. Right. On Bumble I think you just like people. But again, for the gay men it's a little bit, I think Bumble's a weird one.
How does Bumble work for the gays?
It's literally just like Tinder. Like you just swipe on people, but you can pay to see all the people that have liked you. But otherwise it'll show you like the top 4 people that have liked you, sort of like Hinge. I think, I don't know, I stopped using Bumble. It kind of seemed redundant. It didn't seem like it do anything, and I really didn't have, I don't think I met one person off Bumble, and honestly he was the longest one. Maybe I should go back, but so Bumble ended up becoming popular because Hinge and Tinder had these paywalls, so they would make all the 5s have to, like, they put all of the 10s behind what they would call the rose jail. So
the rose gel.
Yes. So on Hinge you could give a rose out or a super like. So what they started doing is like, hey, we calculate that you're a 5. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all of 1 through 7 in your feed. 8 through 10 are now behind this wall. You have to send a rose. You only get 1 a day. So now like all the super deemed like attractive people, palatable people that were getting the most likes and the most action are now put behind a wall. So some people weren't getting any likes, even though they were like, I know I am gorgeous. Like, what is happening? Because nobody was going to pay money to send a like to this random stranger.
So they're locking away the hot people, and then the hot people are suffering.
Sure, but like also imagine, let's say you're 7 and now 8s and 9s and 10s are behind the rose wall, and then you get 7s and below. Like, it's kind of like you could kind of match with some people, but people they thought were really compatible or really attractive and wanted by a lot of people in your area, they put behind a wall. So I would notice that like there would be people that I could like. I need that. And so now what's happening is the paywall. So people that were compatible. So I would notice there were people that had more similar interest or more typically deemed my type based on how I was swiping. And then like for a day they would be there, and then they'd be put behind a wall. And then it became like this game where you were having to fight with the algorithm. So like you would swipe no on like 20 people, close the app, open it up the next day, and they would like your first 2 to 3 profiles would be people that would have been behind that paywall, but they wanted you to come back to the app and use it again. Like there was like all of this extra work so you could get like the hotter people. It was like this game, and it just became too much. It was a lot. But now that got exposed. People figured it out. So people stopped using Hinge because of the paywall, stopped using Tinder because of the paywall, and moved to Bumble. And then everybody was on Bumble, but then people started, getting mad about different things on Bumble, and then
God,
they
I
were
did
on
not
it.
realize
So
all
then
this was
people
going
went
on.
back to Tinder,
Okay.
and
But
then
Tinder didn't fix its
that was
problem,
when I
right?
kind of hopped off the apps. No, like I hopped off the apps. Like Hinge is always like in the middle of like it's shitty, but like I feel like that's where most people my age are, or like my age range are. Tinder has a lot, but usually it's going to be a little bit older of a crowd, in my opinion. And then Bumble is just literally everybody, absolutely everybody. And so the I was on Tinder, and then that's when I deleted all the apps, and then Bumble apparently just relaunched itself. I don't know. And again, this is all just a caveat or whatever to modern dating of like you have to know what's happening with the apps, because there was a time where I was like, I know I'm pretty. Why the hell am I not getting likes? Or like, why is it like one good looking person that's my type every 2 to 3 days? Because it was like I don't know, it was weird. It was like they more or less like monetized and made an algorithm for dating, and were like hand controlling the dating pool type
Right.
of thing. But I will say, in our area, I've started seeing a lot more like bars and younger or different places start having like speed dating for younger people, and
Have you
like
gone to any?
no.
Oh.
Well, actually, I did go. There was this place called Boxcar, and they have like games and arcade. And I went there for like a singles night. I think it was mostly for straight people. And saw my ex fiance. So then I left.
I didn't know that's what it was for.
Yes,
Oh my
it
gosh,
was
I
a
remember you
singles
telling me.
event. I was like, oh, okay, hey, we're both here. So I left, went to the bar next door, and got drunk.
I knew you. I remember you telling me I just saw ex fiance. You did not tell me it was at a singles event.
Yeah,
Kendall.
yeah.
How
She
you
had a
leaving out
man.
details like
Good
that?
for her.
She was at a singles event, so.
She had a man that night. Yeah, there wasn't really anybody there for me, but I'm saying it's weird because it's like we've got to this point where like they're like, okay, online dating is too prevalent and too messy. Now we're moving back to in-person dating. Let's go old school with it and meet people in person and all this other stuff. But I think some of the coolest dating advice I got was from the Call Her Daddy podcast, where she interviewed
Okay.
Miley, and Miley was like, she had her divorce, and then she was like hanging out with people, whatever. She's like, and I kept going to the club, and then I'd get mad because I'd have all these failed situationships and all this other stuff. And then she's like, and then I just kind of realized like I need to be in spaces with qualities, or that attracts people with the qualities I want.
Okay, I have told you this before.
Yeah, but you weren't Miley.
But I was like, if you want a
that
club
episode was
girly,
like a year and a half ago.
I know, but I was like, if you don't like clubbing, you're not gonna pick up your perfect person at the club, you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't like sporting events, then you're not gonna pick up your perfect person at a baseball game.
And it's so obvious.
Not that it
that
has
I
to be the
couldn't-
perfect person. Like I'm just saying, like it's unlikely that.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you're into community service and you go to community service events, you're gonna find people who also like community service.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just that was really good dating advice. And then also my last thing, and truly my eyes were woken because I listened to this audiobook called The Velvet Rage, because I've been trying to learn about my gayness and learning about myself and my place within the community and the world, all of that. And it talks about validation, or really this shame that gay men have. In his book, this is what he says, is like gay men have this internalized shame and they use external validation to get it. I could step outside of the gay community and not necessarily be towards shame, but the need for validation in the dating community is so crazy. But like once that glass was shattered for me, I really saw it, because I've been on dates with guys where they're bringing up how their cool job, where they like beyond like, oh, like what do you do for work? They're like, oh, I'm like to have this big well-paying job, and I'm from a well-to-do family, and I went to this really nice college, and like just subtly dropping like pricey things or like name dropping. And truly, I just think of this one guy I went on dates with that was like, I'm on the in crowd of the community here, and You know,
Yeah.
I literally grew up because we talked about Gilmore Girls, and he was like, "Oh, I'm literally like Lorelai, like my mom's Emily, like I grew up rich and everything." And it's just like all these things he kept subtly dropping about, like his status, his money, his things he had, how he had an internship with a fashion place in New York City, and he lived in New York City for years, and like went to like bag making places for like all these big luxury brands, but like, girl, you're still sitting here, not
Yeah.
in New York City with the rest of us. It was a whole thing, but all that to say, like truly, like start looking into validation, like what people do just to get likes. And
Well,
for our straight listeners out there, pay attention to the men that are performing for men and performing for other men's validation. Not just like this kind of goes hand in hand with that thing of like men want mothers, not wives, or like they want mothers, not mothers, not wives, I think is the
yeah.
phrase. But like, I don't know. That's helped me navigate too. Is just being like, it's one thing to share your interest in. Like, we have to get to know each other. But like, I've definitely helped avoid some red flags. Being like, that seems like you do that for validation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even going back, the dating apps are almost a validation project in general. Like, literally, I used to say it, and I think you've joked about it before, that like, I'd be like, I'm not looking to date anything, but I'm on my vanity project. And that's how you'd know I was on Tinder, like just swiping, looking to see who'd swipe me back.
Which I honestly support that. Like, I think there's a little bit of a, like, I'm trying to think of the right word. Almost like a you owe me because I matched with you type of thing. This is another thing I hate about the dating apps. Is like you'll swipe with people and then neither one of you message because either one, they were there for their emotional validation matches. I can respect some of those. But then there's also like this subtle thing of like, I matched with you, or it feels like this to me. Is like, I matched with you, so you have to message first because I'm better than you. So you should be lucky I said yes to you.
See, for me, it bothered. That's something that was present back when I was dating. And the thing that irritated me more than anything was in a profile when they're like, I don't message first. Immediate, no. Immediate X. Just because I hate that. But the way I always felt is like if you swipe and you like matched with someone immediately, that means they liked you previously. So you matched them. You got the notification before they did. You go ahead and send the first message. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and you could just say, hey. But
exactly.
All that to say, I definitely, over these past few months, as I've been gearing up to move, I was like, I just need the validation. Like, I cannot start anything with anybody. I'm not really too big on hookups right now. Like, I just want to, like, have someone to cuddle and all that validation. And then I'll just be sitting there like, all my friends are still going on dates and I'm not. Man. So then I would just like go get my emotional validation matches.
Yeah.
All that to say, like, just know where your intentions lie with that. But like also, again, don't look for validation. I mean, like, look for the validation. Like, obviously it feels good when like a cute person swipes on you, but I don't necessarily get mad when they don't message back because sometimes I don't message. And
Same.
I mean, I feel like
that's just part of being on the dating apps, you know?
Yeah, it's just weird. Like all these like subtle assumed behaviors.
It's
all
like it's
to
only
still,
hidden
like,
language as well, though.
Yeah, it really is. It can be studied in a sociology class or something.
It will be one day for sure.
Yeah,
Dating
there's
in the
so many
2020s.
rules. Yeah,
Or like I don't know. It's been going on longer than 2020. So
yeah, online dating has been forever, but now for sure, I think like the stupidest thing that's happening right now is definitely like the matching, not messaging. And then being like, oh, you think you're hotter than me? And then unmatching with them. Or like definitely the people like, I don't message first. Like, for what, girl? For what?
Yeah. So
Just say, hey.
you're saying from the beginning you don't want to put in effort. Cool.
Yeah. And again, that's just red flags. But also, I guess I won't really touch on it because we're already hitting a good 30, 40 minutes. But I'll have to do an episode on attachments because I've been so deep into it. I've talked to like everyone I know about it.
Yeah.
It is an obsession for me. Look into attachment styles for all of like my people who are out there dating right now. You're gonna find
even people in relationships, because you going over that helped me fully. Like, no, in relationship, if you are a living, breathing human being, look into attachment styles.
Yes. I think it's my favorite thing that I found from TikTok, which, long may she reign. Who knows how much longer we've got it.
Exactly.
But
I'm interested to see what we're going to come up with, because they're going to do something. There's always something.
They're gonna figure
Vine's
it out.
gonna come back.
I think Instagram real honestly bring Vine back.
Could you imagine? It's its moment.
I mean, we just need long form content. I don't know about the 6 seconds.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna go to Instagram Reels for a little while because that's what it was before. But look into attachments and understand that with the single people that are dating, your people that are avoiding relationships are gonna populate most of that pool. So the people who are like actively seeking real connections, you're gonna have to sift through a lot of bad people or unserious people to get to people that really want to commit, which is again why I go back to it is okay to date multiple people. Like nobody told me that. I literally was taking it one person by one person by one person, talk to 500 people, go on dates, have an entire week full of different men or women or Thursons, whatever you want.
Yeah. Thurston.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about dating. Like it's just so interesting. There's no clear rule book, but like when you're in there, there's a rule book and you find out so quick.
Yeah, as I said, it's its own hidden language. I mean, I'm out of it, but it sounds like it's only gotten more complicated since time to us. Like, you keep me pretty updated, like, when you learn something. It's just, like, I'm sure the paywalls and the algorithm thing was present when I was doing it, but I don't think it was as in your face about it. Like, super likes had just become a thing around the time I was getting out of it, you know?
Yeah, and when I was on Tinder, like, way back in the day, I was getting all types of profiles of all types of people.
You can see all types of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Bumble's the closest to showing you any and everybody. But Grindr for the gays, Grindr is it. But again, what are they showing you? A blank fucking profile.
Yeah, right. And who's looking for a relationship on Grindr? Yeah. Some people actually, apparently.
Some people, yeah. But now there's more than that. There's Scruff, Sniffies is now like a local hookup, like. More or less like
I've heard like other people on podcasts and stuff talk about it.
Yeah, like they'll like post about orgies and stuff on there. Anyway, so we have Grindr, we have Scruff, we have Sniffies. There's another one.
I remember back in the day.
Jacked.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was one that's like there's one that was for bears or something.
I don't know. Everything's out there. There's so many apps now. But I like to stick to the main ones. Personally, I'll end this with what my favorite app has been, which has been Hinge, honestly. The prompts they have on there, I like. I think they have more interesting ways to start conversation. Tinder's not as interesting to me. And I don't know. Like, I feel like I've had more success off of Hinge, even though the person I talked to the longest was from Bumble, but that was when everybody was off of Hinge and Tinder. I don't know. But I feel like Tinder's the big one right now.
The only ones I've ever tried out are Grindr and Tinder. I don't think I've tried out any other. Because Hinge was just coming up as I was, like, leaving.
I like it. I also met one of my good friends off Hinge when I was still pretending to be bisexual. I'm not going to say pretend. It was a process. I've seen you
and other people use Hinge, and I really like its, like, format. Like, if I was in the dating world, that's probably going to be interesting. Because, like, you can hear their voice. It really sets up to understand someone's personality.
Just get rid of the damn paywall. Like, I understand, like, it's an incentive, like, you want people to use your app and stuff like that, but, like, everyone hates it now. That's so stupid.
Exactly.
But that's, like, a company thing. It's not really dating.
Yeah.
But, yeah, pray for me out in these streets. The only thing that keeps me sane is I just tell myself, if it is for me, it is for me. Wow, so far, none of it's been for me.
Basically, gay and sexual awakening and dating apps.
Kind of on theme. Do you see why the heart was on theme now, though?
Yes. I thought you were going to go childhood, like, Powerpuff Girl or something with the outfit. Because you also
this outfit is a little childish today, but, like, honestly, it's fine. The dating apps are childish.
Yes. So I guess that's the end of this episode. The end of Mom's House little vlogs.
Yeah. This is the last I'm going to be here before I move, so.
Yeah. Could be another one in the future, but no time soon. Probably.
Who knows?
All right. Well, I guess that's about it for this episode.
All right.
Talk to you later. Bye.